the Y character is actually a bit higher, so that my head will not collide, but the rest of the body will. Which makes kind of a bit more sense, I think. So -6. Here it is. It feels nice. And when I'm running, I do have a collision polygon that is really tight to my animation. So now it feels probably a bit better. So I can make the collision polygon itself, my character object, invisible. And I will want to add some kind of end object. So to make that, I will go back to my action layer. I will add another sprite. And I will add a new object, but this time it's going to be a door. And this door, I will take it from here. So it's yet another OpenGameHeart.org file. This one is an animation. It's nice, but it's not what I want. This one. I do have all the elements, and what I can do is actually right-click and copy the file directly and paste it in my image editor. I'm asking if I want to enlarge my canvas, keep the canvas size, so the actual 256 by 256 size. I will make it so that the canvas fits the size of the object. And I will crop it so that now it's actually even completely fitting my object. It's cool, but I actually only want the first element there. So I will resize it and align top left and make it a 64 by 64. And this way I just have the frame of my door. That's cool. I will add another frame, and this time I will change the speed of the animation to 0. I will explain a bit later on why I'm doing this. I'm still having my image in memory, so I'm pasting, but I'll keep the canvas size this time, and I will actually move my image around. Zoom in to make sure I'm right where I want it. Here it's okay. And now I've pasted only one object. It's the closed door. Actually, I will want to now copy the frame. Yeah, that's not what I wanted to do actually. So let's modify this. This will be my open frame door, so I will fill it with black. But that allowed me to show you that with a drag drop I can modify the order of my frames. And since I've copied my frame, normally I can paste, yeah, right there. So now I have a closed door, and now I have an opened door. And each frame, because of the speed 0, will stay on and not be an animation. If I preview, I'm just displaying one animation. The last thing though, since I've copied and modified the size, my origin point has been changed a bit. So I'm making sure it's back to the middle of my image. I do so by pressing on the numeric key of my keyboard. 7, 8, 9 allows me to put it in the top, 4, 5, 6 in the middle, 1, 2, 3 in the bottom. Obviously there I'm pressing 5 to have it in the dead middle of the sprite. And right there it's the same. So my image is going to be aligned this way, and that's what I want. I'm pressing the arrow keys to place it like I want, exactly to fit my level, and I will name it door. I will add an instance variable to it, which is a variable that is applied to and each value of this variable will be different for each instances. And there I will name it opened and make it a Boolean. By default, it's going to be false. And from the moment that I will have collected all my objects, I will want to make it true and display the other frame. So let's do that by a system compare two values. To collect count is equal to 0, which means that there is no more instances of the to collect objects. I want to set the door value, the Boolean value, to true, and modified the frame to 1. And so now, if I'm previewing, we go back to my objects. I'm collecting objects, 4, 3, 2, 1, and my door opened. Oh, interesting. So in construct, there is a Z order, a Z order. So the latest object created is always on top compared to other objects. You can still have control over this by actions though. So for example, on start of my layout, I will want my door to go to the bottom of my layer so that the character will always appear on top of it. And same with the to collect objects. So move to bottom as well. So it's taking shape. I'm kind of having a mechanic that is working. I will want to juice it a little bit more to have some tests and whatnot. So first thing, I will add a behavior to my to collect object, which is going to be a signy behavior. I will select all my instances and modify it vertical, a period of 4, and move it by 8 pixels. So now all my instances of the to collect objects, maybe you can't see them that very well. I will change this color. Let's put it in orange. Zoom, repaint it. Now we go. They will move up and down on a period of 4 seconds and to a magnitude of 8 pixels. So they will move from 16 pixels up and down in 4 seconds. But if I keep it so, all will have the very same movement. It's maybe not what exactly I'm wanting. So I will play with the period random number. We'll add 2 seconds to it, and we'll add 4 pixels to the magnitude as well. I also want it to be a bit nicer, and I will actually want to add some particles, because we can do quite easily. So I'm adding a particle object. It's pretty much like the sprite object. You have a texture that you can add to your project and to your object. So I'll put it in 8 by 8. We'll make it bluish. And here it is, my particles object that I can modify. If I'm just running and previewing my object, you can see I have a particle emitter at this point that is just emitting big blue squares. I will want to modify that. Third thing, I want only a one-shot, so that it will actually spread 50 of the textures in one shot in a spray cone of, and actually 360 degrees. So it will make a round. So if I preview, yeah, that's more like it. And you can see also that my collect objects are moving up and down, giving it a bit more life, if you will. So that's kind of interesting. I will change there the size of the particles. You have a lot of properties you can modify. You can modify the speed, the size, the growth rate, and then the acceleration, the gravity, so that instead of having just a kind of round, you can have more like a fountain objects, and particles will go down on the ground. You can make it so that instead of fading to invisible, you prefer to have your particles going for a certain time, or actually for the duration of the movement. As long as they have momentum, the particles will go on. For now, the fade is very well with me, and in 1 second, all the particles will have disappeared. And what I want actually is to add to my on collision object there, I want my toCollect object to actually spawn another object, spawn the particles object on my layer, which is named action, since I've renamed it. And it's from its image point 0. So that should juice it a little bit more. So now I'm having a bit of action when I'm collecting an object, which gives more feedback to the player. And now I will then add my end of the level right there. But first, there's a last modification I want to do. My background is a bit hollow as it is, so I will add yet a new layer, name it background, make it not transparent, and modify my action so that it is transparent. So I've removed formerly my action layer with the first layer, which add a background color of a white background color. If I hide my background layer, which has the white color, you can see that it's grayish. So it's the, if I were to, at the moment, no, it wouldn't work actually, but it would all right, we are going to the end. So just quickly, I will add a tiled background, which is kind of a sprite, allows to make a repeating motif. So here I have an image, and I can apply it in my background. I will change its opacity though to 25, so it's less aggressive on the eye, and play a bit with the parallax value so that it's 70 by 75. And so now you can see that when I'm moving, there is a different effect in the background. The platform appears in the foreground, whereas the background appears to move at a different speed, which makes for a nice effect. And you can play with and add different layers with different parallax values. Excuse me. And just one last thing, I will actually duplicate my layout. It's now layout 2, which makes that I have exactly the same elements. So now I will move it a bit so that I'm having a different layer. I'm still snapping to grid, even if I'm not displaying it right there. The goal will still to collect all the objects, obviously. And I will remove some of them, so there will be less elements to collect right there. And last thing to add on my event sheet one is actually the condition when the character is on collision, is overlapping actually the door. that my door is actually opened